All right. Hello, everyone. And welcome to the alaracanfieldshow, the Awaken Happiness Now Global Series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And just a quick, announcement. If you are watching this on YouTube, live or replay, please do subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of the next live show. We normally do live shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays, sometimes Wednesdays. So please do subscribe and join our community. And my deepest wish and intention is to be of service to all of you, to share resources, tools, activations, clearings, etc., as well as support from our wonderful speakers and guests who are here with us. This season, we have quite a few, so please do join as many of the shows as you can. If not, please do watch on the replay. And so today, my good friend Cathleena Hailley is back with us, and she's been with us many times, and we love having her. It's always a high vibe show. Lots of clearings, activations, frequencies, and shifting for sure. And so be willing to receive, be willing to let go, and be willing to receive the wisdom from this conversation. So with Cathleena, some of what we're going to talk about today and discuss is we're going to talk about a 9-week activation series to align your soul's essence, to interact with your brain and physical body in pure entity consciousness with all things. And today we are talking about restoring the original soul fragmentation and releasing the imprint of separation from the brain and the body. We're going to be taking some live caller questions as well, going to be doing some processes, and we're going to be talking a little bit about, like I said, restoring the beginning soul fragmentation imprint. We're going to be talking about soul fragmentation or quantum entanglement, how the brain chemistry is malleable, and how to bring the brain itself into synergy with all body systems as divine union of self with self, divine heros gamos with divine creator or source as consciousness. So all that and more. Like I said, Cathleena has been with us many times. She is an embodiment of the divine feminine who works with the Council of Nine Collective, and in particular with Jesus, Metatron, and other ascended masters. And her coding accesses the womb water of an individual's birth so that they are brought back to their original soul expression, creating a rebirth to allow full expression of the soul's imprint. And I have to say right now, where we're at in consciousness, humanity, the state of the planet that we are in, we are all being pulled back to that, to come back to our core essence, to come back to our soul blueprint, who we truly are, and live a life from that place and from that state. So with all that being said, Cathleena is here with us, and I'm so glad that you're here, Cathleena. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Laura. Always fun to be here with you. We always have a good time. So thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to say really quickly, because I forgot at the beginning, if you do have a question for Cathleena, you can raise your hand, or you can type your question in the chat. But sometimes it's always more beneficial to speak, because sometimes Cathleena may ask you questions, right? But right. So if you can, that'd be better. Right. So with that being said, let's get going with the conversation, because we always have a lot. And even though sometimes we're having a conversation, there's always shifts in energy. There's always movement in energy. Cathleena is always transmitting energies through her voice, frequencies through her voice. And then, of course, when she does processes, there's toning and etc. Right. So be willing to receive and be willing to let go, and just be willing to be present. Right. So the more you can be present here with us now, the more that you can truly transform. Yep. All right, Cathleena.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't arbitrarily talk. I'm actually in your energetic field, and we'll be sharing from that perspective. So, yeah.
Yes. So let's talk like this is not the first part series, because that last season, I think we did judgment, right? So this season this time we're doing separation, right? And separation is a big thing. I mean, so yeah. I feel that most of my issues have to do with feeling separate from God, creator, source, universe, and or myself, right? And sometimes the body is feeling separate from who I am, or me feeling separate from my body. So separation is, I think, one of the core wounds and the core issues that we who are on the spiritual path have to deal with, have to resolve, have to clear out, etc. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as you were speaking, I'm listening to everything that you're saying, and you're hitting all the kind of topics of separation. And, from the origination point of this false matrix, and I'm assuming that everybody here has an awareness of what this false matrix is. If not, I'll just be brief a little bit about it, that, we are living in a matrix or energetic experience, and it's really everything that you create here within this physical body. This physical body is everything. It is the millionaire, it's a relationship, it's everything, because I'm source consciousness, energy having a physical experience through this body. And what I feel is my physical world is really a creation of my belief systems in relationship to what I think is outside. So this is this kind of idea of this matrix, and the kind of the beginning creation of this false matrix is through separation. I mean, we're here to have the experience of duality, of something that is opposite, so to speak, of self, but not in the density in the way that's been created. And so the first illusion of separation is that I am separate from source consciousness, and that's not possible, because I am source consciousness. But on a very deep level, I mean, that has us not feeling safe and not feeling comfortable. And when, and that's because this whole experience has been based on that. And so at the very deepest core of our being, we're questioning, am I good? Am I not? Who am I? What am I doing? At those very deep levels. And then we're carrying that through to our entire life. So it's a huge piece in having this awareness that I am source consciousness and that you're source consciousness. So first of all, that I am source consciousness, I think that's the most important to realize, because on the planet, of course, we've got that whole God is outside of me, or whatever that is, there's a lot of that going on. But then to realize the law of one, that I'm not only not separate from source consciousness, but we're not separate from each other, because we are all energy and frequency, and we're communicating on multidimensional levels to each other. And we're communicating through, of course, voice and sound and so on, but it's really light and sound, and it's geometry. So if you imagine that you are this puzzle piece, and it's not a flat puzzle piece, it's a spherical sort of moving puzzle piece, unique puzzle piece to all there is. And if you can allow yourself to let go and show up as yourself, then that unique aspect that you are, with this geometry, this way that you are, very beautifully synergistically communicates to all things in this beautiful alignment. And this is what we're stepping into to wake up to. And that's, jump a little ahead, that's what this course is about. It's kind of what I'm all about, really, is all about helping you recognize how you've been, I guess, for a way to say it, since I'm talking about this sort of spherical puzzle piece, it's how you've been clicking that into place in a way that is not authentically you. First of all, if I'm clicking it into place, I'm in a finite reality, and we're infinite. And so it's constantly moving and shifting, which we are, right? And so if we're clicking this into place, then we're identifying ourselves as something. And that in itself is a separation. I mean, that's what we're doing, because we're infinite beings. So this is kind of what this whole thing is about. It's about being able to it's restoring the original soul fragmentation. So when the soul fragments, the fragmenting is when I, in my little humanness, take on a belief system of something. And when I take on a belief system, it's like my soul then fragments and then it imprints that belief system. And so that's what this is. It's restoring the original soul fragmentation and releasing the imprint of separation. So it's an imprint within my being, and allowing that to come in so that I can let go of the layers of how I've been identifying as that. And what that's doing on an energetic level is through this sort of spherical aspect of yourself. It's like taking out those pieces to allow it to move comfortably, or you. So in your day-to-day, what that means is that I just start to feel better. I start to feel like I can really show up. Like for some reason, whatever was having me feel stuck or feel like I'm worried, I don't feel it anymore. It just begins to let go, very naturally. And I start to have my own guidance system, because we have a natural guidance system, and I start to align to that and attune to that, and it starts to guide me on what is I want in my life, or what makes me happy, and so on and so on. So I mean, I could go into a lot of layers with this, and of course I'm not arbitrarily talking. I'm talking on multidimensional layers for you and with you, and sort of awakening, because I can feel the energy here. This is one thing about who I am, for if there's anybody here that doesn't know me. I'm not from this universal complex. I realize that my consciousness is beyond this universe, and I'm one of the original seeders of this planet, this existence here, as well as have participation in origination of the false matrix. So both sides. So I have a great knowledge of all of it in terms of the energetic field, and so when I'm talking about this idea of you guys as geometry, I'm able to experience that, see that, look at it on multidimensional layers, and so on and so on. So anyway, that's a lot that I brought you, but it all wanted to come through. It's typical.
Thank you. Exactly. And that's what happens when we get together, and when you start talking, it's like we start with one thing, and then whatever wants to come through comes through. So we talked a bit about the soul fragmentation, which is also quantum entanglement, right? And so can you talk a little bit about how the brain chemistry is malleable, and what does that mean, and how can we help with that to make it how can we help our brain so that we can something there's something there.
Well, there's a lot in that. I think that what wants to come through, first of all, the most important is for us to align our brain channels so that we have communication, direct communication as ourselves, as source consciousness. We have 3 brain channels. So we have one, the closest one to our existence here is connected to the grid systems around the earth. And for those that don't know what the grid systems are here and what they're for, is that they house sort of portal systems, and these portals allow for authentic frequencies to come through and communicate as their authenticity to us. So it's like we're these antennas to this communication system, and the grid system provides for a particular experience for us to have. So like this Earth's experience, the desire of the experience is love, truth, beauty, and goodness, and all qualities in relationship to it. So those portals that are in the grid system allow for access, and the portals are aligned to our brain. We have all these portal systems in the brain, and the brain, we're only using 10% of our brain, because the other 90% of the portal systems have been basically shut down, and they were shut down because the grid systems were changed. But we now have the original grid system that's in place that allows for this communication to come through. So we're aligning these brain channels. So the first is connected to the grid system. The second channel that's a little further away connects into the center of the Milky Way, or the central sun, which is basically the heart of source. And then the third channel aligns directly to pure prime creator. So we're aligning those. We can do practices, and I can give a little bit more on that. But this is part of what we're doing is aligning those brain channels. But also we're moving from this mind matrix. There's, in the false matrix, there's been these pathways that we've been guided to, because we've inadvertently created these boxes within our brain that we're sitting in our consciousness. And so I'm gonna have to talk about that a little bit. I've talked about this in several different shows, but since this is where this is going, I'll just briefly talk about this for a second. What that is that, us as consciousness, as information, we're like I said, we're like this unique library of information, or you're this calibrator, this puzzle piece of information. And how we engage in a physical body is we take this information called you, which is basically your soul, and we download it into the brain. So think about you are like the software in a computer, the brain is like the computer. So we download ourselves into this brain, and then we communicate to the body. And you want to think about the body as like a giant mall of people, and I'm either in synergistic communication or I'm not, or so on. But this is what I'm saying is we're not downloading ourselves into the brain. We're sitting in these little boxes. So we're sitting in these pentagonal shaped boxes, little pentagon shaped boxes. That's a 5-sided container because it's specifically closed grid. And we're listening to a book being read. So the book being read is the collective beliefs of what I can and can't do. And then the boxes are basically created from the parameters of my belief system and something that I can create. So in other words, if I say like, how can I create money? Whatever my current belief system about creating money is what makes the edges of those boxes. So I'm sitting in these boxes, you know, so it's one thing to align the brain channels. The other thing is to notice that I'm like, you know, my consciousness, me as consciousness is sitting in my head, just spinning around, instead of going into my heart space. So if I drop into my heart space, which this is the key to, you know, our conversation here, is being able to get into the present moment and drop into my heart space and allow for creation, you know, to occur. So when you talk about the malleability of the brain, it's really the communication system as well, because we've had a hijacking communication system within our physical body, where our natural communication is supposed to go from the brain to the heart. And but what we're doing is, I know, from the heart to the brain, but what we're doing is we're going from the brain to the heart. So that it's inverted in there, where we're sitting in the brain and we're communicating everything we want, and then we're trying to feel from that space, instead of being in your heart space, opening it up and allowing for the knowing from your intuition to come in, and then the communication to move into the mind, and then having the mind channels open, if they're then communicating directly to source, directly whatever, and bringing that back in, you know. So this is also part of what I do, and I do that in private sessions as well, is correct that hijacking system, you know, and bring the senses too, because this is the other thing, our natural sort of 5 senses are directed through this inverted communication system through the brain instead of through the heart. So we want to communicate that as well, you know, and begin to do that. This is all happening. I'm communicating it in this with you, even as we're talking about it now and aligning. So there's a lot happening here.
Exactly. That's why I said, it's like, even when we're just having conversation, be willing to receive, because it's not just conversation, it's, you know, a transmission of frequencies as well. So I want to talk a little bit about the 0 point. We talk about this on every show, every call with you, and I still find that we still need to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, because I think it's important for people to experience, but you know intellectually what the 0 point is, and how and why it's important for us to be more in the 0 point field in our day, and then also to experience it, which we are going to experience it as well right now, if you can, if you're present, and also during the process that we're going to do later, you're going to definitely experience it then. But can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, you know, I am the 0 point, so I'm carrying it. So I'm in that. And what it is simply is it's the present moment without judgment. So it's the place of neutrality. And you know, when you move everything through that place, but what is it in a greater capacity, and how do I get there? Well, I am the 0 point. I mean, I'm representing an as it, but we are, humanity is in general, because we are source consciousness. And you know, the 0 point is the place of no thing and all possibilities. That's why it's the place of the present moment. And it literally is present. You know, I got my feet on the floor, I'm looking out my eyes, I'm in my room, and I'm in my heart space. That's the difference. And where I usually am is, you know, not me particularly, but in humanity is, I'm got my feet on the floor, I'm looking at my eyes, I'm in my space, but I'm in my head. And so there's a couple of reasons why this is important too, to practice and have an, I love the word understand and understand, an understanding of the 0 point is because we are literally creator beings. We can create with our hands and do things, but we literally create through our thought and our emotion. And so, every single thought comes out of your head as a geometric shape. And that thought is the blueprint of your creation. It's the mental masculine. It's basically the paper. And then you add an emotion to that thought. And that emotion is the person in the pencil. It's the divine feminine. It's the creator creation aspect. When you take a thought and an emotion, you hold it 14 seconds or longer, it moves into the unified field, creates a match, and then ends up going out into the universe and comes back into reality. So we're literally creating this way. And, when we're constantly perpetually in thought, and then we're perpetually in that same emotion, this is why your life is continually like you're the hamster on the wheel and you can't seem to get out of it. So the way out is to drop into the 0 point, which is into the heart space. So how do I do that? Is you begin to notice, like when you're in the privacy of your own home, you've got your feet on the floor, I'm looking at my eyes, so I notice that I'm in my thought. So I notice, what is my thought? And I notice, what is my emotion? And then more importantly, what is that emotion doing to this vehicle? So the example might be if I say, oh my God, I don't know where my money's coming from. And I've got that thought, like, oh my God, I don't know where it's coming from. I've got the emotion of like this anxiousness. And then I feel that contraction. So, all you got to do there is just notice the contraction. You take a breath, you let it go. Now I'm in the 0 point. And so I'm in the unknown. But what happens is we're taught, don't be in the unknown, be in the known. So you're immediately going to go back in your head. Okay. So we have to practice this. And there's a couple of things in this. First of all, I have to own and I have to acknowledge how my current situation is serving me. Because even though we might say, oh my God, I want to get out of this, I don't want to be this, we have to acknowledge that I am source consciousness. So I am choosing this for a reason. There's a reason that I'm choosing whatever it is that I'm going on now, happening to me. So this is where I tell my example about how I used to wake up in the morning and I would hear, you're such a failure, and I was like racing around trying to get things done. And I woke up one morning and I practiced what I'm saying to you as I heard, you're such a failure. I felt the emotion. And to my surprise, I realized that there was some comfort in that. I was like, oh, no judgment. I just noticed. I was like, oh, isn't that interesting? There's comfort in me dialoguing that I'm a failure. It's like, oh, I'm kind of comfortable in this energetic field. Okay. So I just noticed it. So then the next day I wake up, it's still there, right? Because it doesn't just go away. So now I could say, well, you know what? I might not know what success is, but I know I don't want to feel this. So now I'm dropping into the 0 point. And what began to happen is I started to say, well, what really is failure and what really is success? And whose voice is this anyway? And what am I doing to myself? And so this is what you'll begin to start to notice once you have the awareness of you're acknowledging first, that takes you out. So once you have that and now you're practicing, then it's just a matter of noticing. So like for myself, I might have still had those voices hanging around, and it was to not embody it, because this is what the quantum entanglement is when I forget that I'm source consciousness, and instead I become Cathleena, and as I become Cathleena, who have I become? So I'm attaching to it. So, and this is kind of trick. And the thing is too, it's not about judging it, punishing it, trying to make it go away, any of that. Like I didn't push that out or do anything, because that's all part of the game too. That's all still playing in that whole false matrix game. It's more about, you just sort of notice it. You become the witnessing observer of what's around you. So I was just witnessing, like, okay, that voice is still hanging out there, but I'm not interested in aligning to it. So I just kind of allow it. And that's when, you're practicing being in that 0 point. And then if you practice the creative process, then you can start to say, like, if I had the example about, where I don't know where my money's coming from, I go, oh my God, I don't know where. Or I could go, I don't know. I don't have any idea. And in the place of like, I don't know, I don't have any idea. Now I'm in the 0 point. I'm in the unknown. And if I practice the creative process in that, I could say, well, if I don't know, that means anything can happen. I could win the lottery. I could have an inheritance. Somebody could just give it to me. And if I started getting excited and I bring in those emotions of joy and excitement and so on, now I'm using that to create. So you'll be amazed at what's going to come into your reality. So the truth in all this is really, about getting present. We're just kids on the playground. That's really all we are. And to be able to just be you, if you could just know and hear a couple major things in here, you are unique. You don't have to find it. Okay. Because that's a huge piece. We're so guided. Like, I gotta figure out how to stand out and show up. No, you don't. You just gotta be yourself. And then it does, and throw away the limits and limitations and the judgments, like something saturated market or this or that. Those are just belief systems that are not true, because there's no other you. You're unique, and you will show up. There always is pathways to you. There's a reason that you're here. You're a divine being. Okay, so this is kind of the key to this, and noticing in the separation concept too. I'm not separate. So energetically, I'm connected. I'm already connected to divine abundance. I'm already connected to divine partnership. I'm already connected to a wonderful life and to this. All I have to do is let go and discover it and allow it to happen. This is what I'm not doing. So it's that magical.
Absolutely. It is that magical, and it can be that magical for all of us, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Cathleena. And so there was some questions in the chat just about soul fragmentation, if that can happen in the womb. Can you have soul fragmentation in the womb?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. From some of the connectedness to the mom or to the experiences. Absolutely. And those can be healed, of course, through your awareness as you are developing. We come in with soul fragmentation. Okay. It's not just in the womb. We've had many, many lifetimes. I'm ancient.
Yes. And then there's a question about what questions should we ask of the universe?
Whatever you choose. There's no should. It's whatever you're feeling guided.
Yeah. And even the question of what questions should we ask of the universe? Ask the universe, what question should I ask you?
I know. I was just thinking, I was like, well, that question within itself is kind of like, what I will say in that, is that just notice, and I'll ask the question more than say it. Am I playing small and asking that question? Am I in the quantum entanglement? Am I recognizing myself as source consciousness, or am I playing small?
And being in separation.
Right. Separation. Mm-hmm.
And then there's a question about who is that failure voice? You talked about failure, right? I'm a failure. Who is that voice? Mm-hmm. And she said, I get that first thing too. It's not our loving guides. No, definitely not our loving guides, but
no. Well, in my case, that failure voice was my own voice of having interpreted my life expression and my life experiences. And some was I had, from childhood of whatever it is that I took in that was going on, in my reality. And of course, so multidimensional, there's so many different layers that goes into that. But in that particular place, that was the voice. And really, you want to go deeper in, like when I went deeper into that and I could really feel it, and I can feel it in general, I can feel it in you of what you're, experiencing in that failure voice. And it's really fear, and it's a fear of life. Actually, it's the opposite of failure. That's why there's a comfort. It's like this giving up, but we're already sitting in that giving up place because everything seems so complicated and so hard and so whatever, only because our mind is doing that. Those are all those crazy mind channels. And when we can just, it's again, be the witnessing observer of it. So it's just almost imagine like pushing it out around you. And so I'm not controlling it. I'm not doing it. I'm just noticing it, because it's no different than everything in the world. We can either, be a part of it and have it, everything's happening to me, or just be like, oh yeah, there's this interesting energy going around here. Isn't this interesting? There's a lot going on. So it's really just it's a perspective of how we're engaging. And because everything's energy and frequency, See, all we're doing in human existence is matching frequencies in order to be comfortable. This is it. This is everything that we're doing. And think of matching frequencies as just simply emotions. And faster moving frequencies always try to raise slower ones up. That's just how it works. And so imagine that you and I come around each other and I'm happy and you're mad. What's going to happen is I'm going to irritate you because I'm vibrating at a faster rate, and because my happy is going to attempt to raise you up. And so as long as I stay happy, you only have two choices. You either get happy with me or you go away. And how many times have you been around somebody, you're happy and they're mad, and they're not happy till you're mad, then you're mad you got mad because you lowered your frequency. Right? So everything's about matching frequencies within this reality.
Yeah, and so
one person on the screen, her camera is just like who this Sabrina. It's like it's very much, there's so much going on in that camera.
yeah,
that it's it's a little distracting. I have to look away because there's so much energetics that are happening in that particular camera. Sorry.
yeah, there's some issues going on with your camera, Sabrina.
Yeah, it's like a lot happening there.
Okay, so misperception of me versus soul. Yeah, sometimes when we get into that space, when we're having those questions about, or those statements coming at us from ourselves about failure or anything that's not of love, anything that's negative, that's our fear and that's our mind. It's not our soul talking.
No, it's never. No. It's not you. It's the little you in your life expressions, in your life experience. So, we hear a lot about the ascension process, and the ascension process is that we are not ascending, the body is ascending. So, we are fifth dimensional or higher beings, we're source consciousness. And what we're doing is we're communicating, we're engaging with this physical body. The physical body is the thing that's vibrating at that three-dimensional denser rate. So, it's like your life experiences that take place, just like in childhood. Like people always want to say, all these things that happen, but really the now moment child was fine. It's the emotional component of what you carry forward in your energetic field that is what's creating those dialogues throughout your lifetime that are like in my case creating that idea of failure. It was coming from what I was holding within my physical body, because my consciousness there is no such thing, my awareness as source conscious or any of that, there's no such thing as that, because that's a judgment. All we are is experience. Everything is just experience. But my human had that. So it was like in my experience of growing up is that I always say I came in on. So I was very alert, very aware of energy and just kind of like hanging out and there was so much chaos and so many things going on that I was absorbing it within my physical body, within myself. And of course, from other lifetimes, whatever, having things to attach to. So as you are waking up, and you're becoming more of who you are, just like I said, that faster moving frequencies always try to raise slower ones up. Well, and how I said too, that, if I came around you and I'm happy and you're mad, I'm going to irritate you. Well, basically, if our body is in those places of, holding an unknown and so on, as I'm continuing to bring more of myself in, I'm actually going to be irritating my body. I'm going to be feeling these emotions of confusion and so on. And that's when the dialogues are going to come forward. And if you really just continue to be the witnessing observer of it, instead of embody it, bring it in and dialogue it back to yourself, you'll start to notice where those voices are, and maybe it's your mom or your dad, or it's the collective, or it's somebody else, or it's coming from a past life, or and you just notice it. And the more that you become more and more aware and you identify yourself just simply as energy and source energy, then these dialogues and these things will begin to dissipate and move away. And it is a process. This is everything that I do and all the work that I do and all of the classes that I do. So,
yeah, awesome. Thank you for the great questions.
Sure.
Now I know we're going to do a process later, but do you want to take some live caller questions, like from people who may have issues or stuff going on?
Sure, I can do some things. Sure.
Yeah. So if you want to raise your hand, if you would like to get picked to work with Cathleena, raise your hand. So we're going to go to Joe or J-O. I think it's Joe. Joe, you want to unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for taking my call.
Mhm.
My first name's actually Jennifer,
Okay.
but it's fine. You can call me Joe or George. I don't care. It's still me. So I was reading the information on the email you sent out, and it said something about separation from our body. And it kind of goes with what I'm experiencing right now is I take care of my mom, and I'm trying to work a full-time job at the same time to support us. And I have been clued in through multiple physical situations where I think I need to leave my job, but then 1,000 voices come in and terrify me of what would happen. For years, I've worked to connect more with my soul and connect more with the divine. But when I get a physical reaction in my body, which I've started having once a month now, and it's pretty severe, it's like migraines and the digestive system goes. And I know what it is. I know it's the stress. It's built up. My body's like, I can't hold it. I'm going to release it now. But I know this is a warning, but I can't seem to get over the hurdle of what to do next to help myself and my mom for that matter. So I
Yeah.
feel like I'm separating myself from my body that way, because when I get physical reactions, they're shocking.
Yeah. Well, that's because, you're embodying who you are. So you're attempting to wake up and be who you are as this divine being, which is, allowing for a greater frequency, a greater level of consciousness to embody within your physical body. But then you're immediately going into the little girl and the fear and the da 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 da. So this is where the migraines, because you're taking this energy that's coming through source consciousness and you're jamming it down around the head. So I can see like there's so much energy there, and that's blocking then of course it's all hitting in the digestion, because that is the emotions in the physical world. So you're just it's holding its fear. It's just like you're holding it in, but everything is ready to go. And it's like you're calling in the resources and the energy, but then you're holding it all in. And so the moral of the story is let go. It's the faith, trust, and surrender. Take a breath, let it go, let it out, and allow yourself to be in the unknown, because that's what it is you're totally afraid. It's like you're not happy, but you're holding, and this is so much of what humanity's doing. That's why this whole, I encourage you to re-listen to everything that was brought here today. And I definitely think, the separation course and a private session actually would benefit you. But really take that in, because this is really what's happening. It's like you're getting all the answers that you want, but you're afraid. And so, because you're not getting what you think you're supposed to have, which is like, show me the next job, show me da da da. But that can't happen until you let go of this holding on to the place that you already are. It's like when I years ago I used to be a massage therapist, and I joke about how I was a finance major in college, and then I was guided to go to massage, and I said I had to surrender my misery in order to take the risk to go into massage, because I had that dialoguing, use your brain, not your hands, and so on. We have so many belief systems and things that are within us, and this is really what's playing out in your energetic field. And I think, when I do the activations, it's going to help open this up, but it's that faith, trust, and surrender, and letting go and being in the now. Okay. It's allowing yourself to be in the unknown.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. I'm just going to repeat that one sentence that just seemed to hit me, is surrender your misery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly. Let go of it.
Good. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer.
All right. So there's Ioana, you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's I'm a prisoner of my mind, and I know that, and the fear keeps me there. I don't know how to get out of it. It's very frustrating, and it's very painful, and it's
So here's the thing about that. So how to get out of it is to actually go into it. So here's what I want you to have this imagination as. So as I said before, that we are source consciousness engaging in this whole physical reality through this vehicle, this body. So in order for us to engage in a physicality, we need a kind of container to be in. And so this body is the container. Well, imagine if that were a room. And so in the corner of the room, we have a candle lit in the corner of the room. And so that would mean we'd have like 25% of the room is light and 75% of the room is dark. So the difference between light and dark is information. And in that case, so light is information, dark is the absence of information. So in this case, if that were your body, then that would mean 25% of you is in your body. That means 75% is something else. What is that something else? It's the collective beliefs, it's your parents, it's whatever, it's the things that's making me worried and upset and so on. But if I were to imagine that that was that room, all I have to do is take that candlelight and expand it across the room and all the darkness goes away. It's the exact same thing within us. So what happens is that when we have fear, we pull away. But if we pull away, we're shrinking our light. We're creating more of it. But if instead I breathe, I expand my light, I expand myself, and I allow myself, then it all goes away. Then there's nothing there. And so this is the practice. Once you start to have that visualization that when I'm stressing out, I'm shrinking my light, and just keep imagining like seeing that room and go, okay, I'm just going to expand that light across the room so that all of this darkness begins to move away. And keep having that as a visual within you and practice, and you'll see how magically those thoughts are now expanded out around you. They're still going to be around you, but you won't be embodying them. Okay. And the other piece is too, that I think you're embodying because you're not present. First of all, I definitely would practice being very present. You know, on my website there, I wrote a small book. It's called The Pocket Guide to Presence. I'd recommend that you get it. It has pictures and colors about getting and staying present and real simple things, you know, like waking up in the morning and, you know, your head takes off in your day and you bring yourself back and you begin to say, what am I wearing? Why am I choosing this? What color is it? Because everything's energy and frequency, everything. And so you're just getting familiar and you know, I know when our brain is like, oh my God, I can't get out of this way. The last thing we want to do is be present because we're like, I got to move. But that's the most important thing to do. Okay. Practice getting very present and breathing, expanding my energy. And what'll happen is that I'll suddenly be the adult me, noticing that there's a younger version of me sitting in this terrified, uncomfortable state. That's what I'm feeling in this. So again, I would definitely recommend, you know, this particular activation series and a private as well. And I think when we do the activation, it's going to help with this because I'm already in your field. So hopefully that's helpful for you.
Thank you very much. Amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good. Thank you, Iwana. And the thing is, you know, a lot of us, we are in our heads, you know, a lot, right? But it is a practice to get out of your head, to be present, to be in your heart space, to be in that 0 point. So don't judge yourself for that because that's just adding more energy to what you don't want, right? But instead of recognizing when does that happen, right? And how are you feeling in that moment? I had this same situation, Cathleena, on Thursday when my husband was having a thing and I went into freak out mode, right? So I was not present.
Yeah.
You know, and it was really stressful. But eventually, you know, I was able to come back and calm down and, you know, it was okay. But it was still like, who was I being in that moment, right? And like a child, terrified and fear and in, you know, not knowing what to do, what was the next step or that, you know, like all of that. It was like, you know.
So yeah, so the key to all of that is just beginning to notice sort of the practicality. If we can get really present and we just begin to feel like right here, like, and you start to say, how is it truly serving this vehicle? Because it's all about self-love.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot coming through the throat because this is really about everything. And that's what it is. It's like, can I love myself enough to be able to be in a calm state, no matter what seems to be going on? Because there, we're taught, it's all in the belief systems, what you're taught. You're taught that somehow me freaking out and stirring around or something has some positive reason for any effect of anything going on. It's the complete opposite. That is one of the epitomes of the false matrix, and there's many, many. So it's beginning to recognize and remind myself, like, hold on, I am a creator being. What am I doing here? And it's normal. I'm not, of course, no judgment in it. That's the key. It's just like noticing it, like, okay, I'm feeling this anxiousness, but what am I really feeling, and who's feeling it, and what's happening, and reminding yourself that you're right here. And just keep, and the other piece is too, it's always helpful in those types of situations. And even like with you, Alara, is to start to remind yourself, I'm sorry, I'm clearing, but there's just so much coming through the throat right now of so many people that, remind yourself of the positive at that moment. And this is always what I recommend, is like when we get our feet on the floor and we start to notice, like, wait, I'm safe. I'm in my home. Okay. I have money right now. I'm okay. Let me just regroup myself right here first. And then say, what am I really feeling? What am I really feeling? Because that's the key in any of that, right? It's like, oh my God, what am I really feeling? And that's how we stay out of our head. As we drop into our heart space and ask those questions, like, what am I really feeling? What's happening to me? Because that is my fuel of whatever it is that I'm creating, is whatever I'm feeling. Okay, so we're just really, and we're honoring it, and we're just taking back our true power, because this is the thing, on this planet, we've got a false definition of power, which the false definition is something greater or less than me or anything. And the authentic definition of power is there's nothing greater than that I am. I already am. And vulnerability as well. Vulnerability is like this weakness or so on, but authentic vulnerability is truth, it's presence, it's experience. So when I allow myself that I am powerful and I am vulnerable as my I am presence, I'm present, I'm here. Just allow yourself just to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, on Thursday, I had to cancel the show, right? Because it's like, I can't do a show when I'm not in that proper mindset and mind frame. And, there was just so much going on. And it's like, I'm, whatever, right? It's like, and so then even the next day, I was still drained, right, from the whole experience. And most of you know about what happened with Robert, and so we still have issues and stuff. But then it's, for me, it's like, then it's like coming back to gratitude, right? Coming back to gratitude, coming back to presence, appreciating that, okay, he's doing great, we're doing great, everything is fine, it's much better than it was, etc. Right? And then got me to calm down, because to be honest, for the past 2 years, I've been in fear, stress, chronic acute stress for 2 years, right? So anytime there's any incident that happens, all of that comes charging back in. So I'm working on that.
That's because it hasn't been released. Absolutely. Because you haven't got to the core of where that's coming from. See, we're human too.
Exactly. We're still working through stuff.
Oh, good. Absolutely.
And again, I didn't judge myself for my reaction. I didn't judge myself that I had to cancel the show. I didn't judge myself, that at all. It's like going through the experience, right? And it's like, and at the same time, giving myself that space and time that I needed to come back to center, come back to be, to who I am, to regroup, etc. So, we all have to, and that's part of that self-love, right? And we have to give ourselves that space and that time when we need it. So
absolutely, 100%. I love it.
So sometimes it happens.
Yes, it does to everyone. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why
we're all in this together.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Yeah, and that's why I tell all my speakers, it's like, these are all tentative. Everything's tentative. If anything happens on a particular day because of something going on, we'll change the date. But it's like stuff happens, so we'll deal with it.
Exactly. Absolutely. Life happens.
So MC is saying, Cathleena, how do we get to the core to release those things that Alara is sweetly sharing, as you say?
Well, the process is getting very present and just beginning to have, to loving yourself. So like my process with that is I'm closing my eyes, I'm taking deep breaths, and I'm just asking, what am I feeling? what's going on here? Because, you've got to get yourself into the present moment, into the heart space, and then begin to ask, and that's how you can actually awaken up your multidimensional self and everything about yourself that way. This is how you connect into to many different lifetimes and aspects, because what will happen is you will get awareness and visions and so on, and most likely you're bypassing them because you're like judging them or doing anything else. So when we can stay the witnessing observer and just really being in that present moment and not making any judgments, you'll have flashes of things and stuff like that. And because we are multidimensional beings, we're all source consciousness. And so you will have your awareness. This is how I woke up to who I am. I had the information here all the time, but I was sort of like bypassing it until we're not.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's
Absolutely. And it's a process, right? For all of
Yeah.
us, we're all going through our own processes. And so it's okay, however you deal with it, however you do it. And, we're all working on ourselves in some way all the time, right? So just keep at it. So somebody's asking, is it normal to feel slightly disoriented in your presence?
Yeah.
I said, yes.
Yes, absolutely. It's very normal because I'm so much expanding your heart space and not your brain space, that your brain's going to be like, I don't even know what I'm saying. And that's perfect. Yes.
Yeah. So it's all good. Just keep
Absolutely.
breathing. It's all good.
Yes, 100%. Yes. And it's a lot of energy here. And I'm in, yes. And I haven't even stepped into the activation portion.
I know, right? So yeah. So if you're experiencing it, just keep breathing. It's all good.
Yes.
Yeah, Destiny, I was just about to ask you, she's on her way to a procedure. Are you still in the hospital? And was wondering if Cathleena can help me slow down, settle down. Oh, you're still in the hospital. Okay, so yeah, can you just, Cathleena, just help Destiny to calm down? She's been in the hospital now, I think, for like a week with, I don't know, heart issues or something, right?
Yeah, with heart issues. And my throat is like, there's something going on with my throat and head. My head hurts really bad. And I don't know if it's just I'm stressed out big time right now.
Of course, and you're
Yeah.
picking up on everybody in the hospital too, Destiny, right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
So I think as we do the activation, Destiny, it's going to help with you, because I think this will be a good time to just go in and do that, because I'm going to do a clearing. For everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lara.
Yeah, thank you, Destiny.
Thank you, Lara. Thank you,
Hope you get
Cathleena.
better soon.
Sure.
Me too.
Just really quickly, somebody was asking if your work, I know, but I'm going to say it anyway. It works on the recording as well, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And she says, this is better pain relief than my opioids.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
yes, absolutely. It works in the recording too. Just be willing to receive, be willing to let go, be willing to be present. I always say, be willing to be present. The more that you're present, the more you'll be able to receive.
Yeah, it's all, everything's energy, and everything that I do is in the 0 point. And so not only can you listen to it, and it's always going to be in the now moment, but you can listen to it over and over again. Each time it's new. So you're going to continually to get activations and so on for each time.
So do you want to do the activation first, or do you want to talk about the package first? Totally up to you.
It's up to you. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, let's talk about the package first, because that way, because I like to do it at the top of the hour kind of thing. So we'll do that first, and then we'll do the activation, because I know that's really powerful. And then, we'll go.
Yeah, because
after that.
it makes the brain go, whoop,
Exactly. So I'm going to share my screen. Give me 1 second. Let me get my proper screen open here. 1 sec. I'm going to share my screen. Hold on. My mind. You see, it's like, it's not just you, it's also my mind sometimes doesn't work as well either in these calls, which is normal.
That's a good thing.
All right, so we are, let me just go down to the bottom here. So there's 2 packages that Cathleena has. One is a 9-week course, Restoring the Original Soul Fragmentation and Releasing the Imprint of Separation from the Brain and Body series. And package B is the 9-week series plus a 50-minute private Zoom session with Cathleena. And there are 2- and 3-part payment plans available for both packages. And please use gift code ATHN10 to receive a special 10% discount from me. All right, so do you want to talk a little bit about the I guess what people can experience or expect to experience in the 9 weeks? We'll go quickly.
Well,
through it.
first of all, because these are recorded, you don't have to do them once a week. You can do them to what you feel. And people always ask me kind of what my recommendation. And it really just depends on the person. I think if you feel comfortable to do them every day, you can do that. I'm not sure I would do more than one a day. You could do them in a day. You could do them once a week, whatever you feel. And I said you can repeat them as well because they're all in the 0 point. And there's some huge energy there. And the way that it comes through is that I channel the information. So I read some of the information. So in the beginning, you'll hear me reading. That's a certain level because everything's about frequency in terms of I say sort of levels of density and frequency. So when I'm releasing this, and this is from the brain and body and the different body systems. So each one, we start with the cardiovascular system and then move on to various different body systems. And so I give, like I said, the explanation as to how this separation has been affecting these particular body systems. And as I'm speaking that, it's removing that or beginning to clear that from the body system at that particular physicality level. And then I go into the activation, and the activations are using light language and a lot of different mudras and things like that, in which I'm deeply going into the systems and aspects of where it's been happening and on multidimensional levels as well in many lifetimes and so on and so on. And so then there's information being brought to you. So each one of these, is different and goes through the body systems in how they are. And if you would ask me exactly what's written, I couldn't tell you right now. I'd have to read it because it's unless I'm in that energetic field. But I do know the basis of what's happening. So they're very profound. They go in very deep levels. I do allow people, if you do end up with a lot of questions or anything, you can send me an email at cathleena.hailley@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to answer questions if things do come up. So that's also available.
Awesome. So yeah, there's 9 weeks, and the 9 weeks cover many different systems.
All
Go
the
ahead.
body systems.
Yeah, all the body systems. There's lots of information on the page. And then of course the personal session with Cathleena. What can people expect in the personal session with you?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I always say is anybody who knows me I always say, so what brings you? So I always ask them, and then I'm in their energetic field. And as I said, I don't arbitrarily talk, so I'm already in the field, and I'm able to just experience exactly where the person is in their physical, emotional, spiritual self, and we move on multidimensional levels and in lots of different ways. And very commonly, I think pretty much most people, actually, especially people that are going to be in this container and so on, have very divine purposes on being here. And so I have a lot of ability to help align that and wake that up and, those types of things. So it's pretty multidimensional, as I am, in the experience of what takes place. So there's a lot, and I work on physical, emotional, spiritual levels, a lot of different ways.
Awesome. So a lot of people normally ask how far in advance you're booked for the sessions.
Yeah. Right now I do have some time. I probably still have time in January. I'm not positive because I haven't done as many telesummits right now. So Alara's fortunate that I'm on the beginning end. So yeah, I'm not super booked out right now, but I do book out pretty quickly. So yeah.
Yeah.
And yes, the private sessions are recorded. I see that. Yeah. And very commonly, what will happen is I get guidance to tell you a certain number of days to listen, and different things occur with the recordings as well. So that's also a process that takes place.
Awesome. So again, Cathleena's packages are A and B. If you can work with Cathleena personally one-on-one, I recommend package B for sure. But if not, at least get package A, because then you're going to go through all of these body systems and clearing the imprint of separation from all of your body systems. And that's going to make a huge difference in your transformation and your spiritual growth. So again, package A and package B, payment plans are available for both packages. And please use gift code ATHN10 to receive a special 10% discount from me. I'm going to stop the sharing. And now, let's see, is the private session recorded? Yes. Does this program work if we still have holographic inserts, etc., interfering, or do we need a different program for that?
Well, that's a different aspect of self. That would I remove all of those types of things in private sessions. But there's those types of energetics can be shifted. Sometimes they'll be shifted through this particular series, but you're kind of talking about a couple different things.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
So MC, yes, Cathleena can remove the inserts.
Yeah, that's during a private session. Yeah,
Yeah.
is really where that type of thing. So that's what
Yeah.
I would recommend if you feel that you're having those.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we are ready for the activation.
Okay. All right.
You're gonna change the sound.
I am going to change the sound, and yeah, you're going to hear some background noise a little bit here, so I'll change the sound. All right. So if everybody wants to close their eyes, take some nice deep breaths. Let's go in the energetic field. Apushikati solo kote kote mokada kasikoti shikona mokoda akaka la bushala kati taka mokosala kata stako. Washikala kotsa kota kasaka to kusham kota kako pomasukiti takasana kota kosa mokota stako takala papa kasaka takatush. Asaka tush. Wisho mogata kasaka kota bas. Aposte kata skota. Asaka kos. Take some nice deep breaths. I'm just going to align you more comfortably, clearly with Sophia Gaia and Prime Creator. Take some deep breaths. I'm going to release any fear, any fight or flight, any fear of this activation, of anything that feels some energies that are afraid, maybe, oh, will this do something? No, this is just simply aligning you with a direct connection with Sophia Gaia, your divine Earth Mother, and Prime Creator. Just clearing through your central channel. Take some deep breaths. There we go. Just going to expand your energy out around you. Again, nice deep breaths. I'm just going to clear through some of these mind channels. I'm just going to open up and align your mind channels to Pure Prime Creator. I'm just going to clear through some of that matrix to help some of that anxiety in those places that are continuing keeping you in the mind. Take a deep breath. I'm just going to clear through some of these lower dimensional fields, first, second dimensional fields. Close all portals, gateways, pathways, meridians, stargates, wormholes of any access to my energy on any first, second dimensional fields. Just going to clear through that astral plane. There we go. Deep breath. Deeper breath. And clear through. I'm just going to release. There's no fear. I'm just going to release all fear, all fight or flight, all fear of letting go. I'm just going to let that go. Release all the fear of letting go. There we go. Fear of just being on the earth. There's just this tremendous fear of letting go. So I'm just going to keep releasing that. Big breath. I'm going to drop you into the crystalline core of Sophia Gaia. And we're just going to align you with all the elements: earth, fire, air, water, ether, and the diamond blue plasmic flame of the sixth element to all aspects of self, mental, physical, spiritual, etheric. Allowing for a communication from the quantum level of your DNA, from the carbon to the crystalline DNA. Just give you a greater sense of peace, just being. That's good, just letting go. Nice deep breath. Take a really big breath. With that big breath, I want you just to imagine just letting go into the arms of your Divine Mother. It's safe to be me. It's safe to be free. It's safe to let go. I'm going to bring another field around you, a pure prime creator, very thick plasmic field, big gel. I'm going to sink you into this. I'm going to call forward the highest and most profound miracles and healing miracles take place this now divine moment according to divine law and order and the will of the Oversoul. We're just going to ask for all that no longer serves you to just release with grace and ease. So I just want you to imagine little particles floating out of your body. You don't have to know what they are, just limits, limitations, judgments, just letting them go. I'm going to replace it with pure prime creator, just to bring you into a place of this 0 point, present moment of peace. Just going to bring in that pink light, Divine Mother, blue light of Divine Father. I'm going to bring in gratitude, 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 deep breath. I'm going to bring all this into your heart space, into this beautiful present moment, 0 point, without judgment. It is done, it is so, it is done, it is so. I am free, I am free, I am free, I am that. Bring this into this present moment. Your crown is completely open to Prime Creator. Your root into Sophia Gaia is above, is below, is below, is above. Creating a giant toroidal field around you as you and in your heart space. Take a deep breath. Just can imagine these energetic roots coming out your legs, at your feet, wrapping around the crystalline core of the earth. These are crystal clear roots as we're calling in the 18th dimensional diamond consciousness of water. Going to bring in divine clarity and divine flow, allowing this water to integrate into the water of your body, your brain fluid, the spinal fluid, lymphatic fluid, and the fluids in the body. Crystal clear communication, freedom. So it is, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. As you're ready, you can begin to come back to a lot of energy. Ooh.
Yes, definitely a lot of energy. Oh my goodness, I was yawning like crazy. Eyes were watering. I felt a lot of shifts releasing from my heart. I can't speak yet.
That's okay.
I didn't even want to open my eyes. I was like, oh, no, don't make me.
I know, it's so bright, there's so much energy present. I would encourage everyone to definitely revisit this field. The field is beautiful. It's a tremendous amount of energy.
Yeah, so how's everybody feeling? How are you doing? MC says, bless you, thank you. Good. Anybody else?
Send you
What did-
healing destiny. Yeah, beautiful.
And so you definitely want to, drink water. I always say drink water, walk around, get some fresh air. Alicia says, thank you. Good.
Yeah, it's still moving. There's a lot that's still
Yeah.
taking place. I can feel a lot within the body. It's going to continue, just breathing, big
Laura
breaths,
says,
and allowing
brilliant.
things. Yeah, allowing it to move. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Wowza. Sherry says, Barb says, thank you. Feel hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of you may feel hot, some of you may feel cool. It's okay. Madalena says, amazing activation. I had goosebumps in the end. Thank you.
You're welcome. Beautiful.
Arietta says, wow, what a beautiful and powerful process. Wow, good.
Yeah, thank
Just
you.
would be willing to receive and let go, right? So some of you may feel tired now.
I feel a lot of emotions too. I think that some of you may have some tears and things like that, and some will be gratitude and depth. I mean, there's so much that's happening, and the energetic field is just a really big field, and and kind of what the energetic that moves through me is very deep, and
Yeah.
a lot going on. So I can feel that. Yeah, I feel a lot in the energy that's still moving and working. So be gentle, loving. You guys are all amazing beings of light. You all have a divine purpose, know that.
The MC said, this is all an answer to a prayer today. The failure message, connecting to Prime Creator, to Sophia Gaia.
Hey.
Yes.
Yay.
Sarah says, thank you for all your hard work on the planet and for us. Tina says, thank you. Didn't want to open my eyes. Yeah, I totally get you there. Thank you once again.
Yay.
Yeah, go to your core, going to your core. Absolutely.
I love it.
Manisha says, thank you, Cathleena, for an amazing and powerful process. Thank you, Laura, for an amazing call. A lot of release, a lot of tingling in my sacral area when you finished. A very big smile. All the fear is gone. Awesome.
Yay.
Good.
Yay. Beautiful.
So, this was just a small process that we did today here on the call. Of course, if you'd like to work with Cathleena, you can get package A to do the 9-week series. You can do it however you want to do it. Or you can get package A, which includes a personal session with Cathleena. So really moving that energy, creating transformation for you wherever you need it. Right. Any last words of wisdom, Cathleena? I still feel like I could just I still want to close my eyes and just take a nap, which I cannot, but it's just keep bathing in that energy, right?
Yeah. And be gentle, I just think be gentle on yourselves, and don't forget what seems to be the most simplistic, which is to just get present. The more you can get present and allow yourself to experience your own life, it's your life. Instead of playing the character role in your life, be the person in your life. That would be my advice.
And so if you think that that's easier said than done, then definitely you want to work with Cathleena, whether it's package A or package B, because I get you. I hear you all. You're saying, I'm trying, it's not working. I can't do it. I don't know what Cathleena, she makes it sound so easy. Right? It's not, but it's a process, right?
Yeah,
For sure.
and no judgment, absolutely, and yeah, absolutely, and that's what I'm here for, is to help guide you in whatever way you might need.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, the activations with Cathleena, they do work on the recordings, the replay. So please do go back and watch or listen again if you'd like. And just remember to be present in that moment. Open your heart space, get out of your head. And I would recommend that if you're going to go back and watch or listen to this call again, the show again, try and be present with it. Don't just have it playing in the background while you're doing something else, right? You can do that and it's going to help, of course, but the more that you can be present with it, the more that you'll actually receive, I think.
Yeah, and the other thing I will say too is that, this is not unique to me. You are me. Remember, we're one. So Own that. Allow yourself, give yourself permission to start telling a different story to yourself. I can do this. I am this. I am amazing. It's
Yeah.
that self-love. I mean, that's how we do it. Even if you
Absolutely.
don't necessarily feel it just yet. Dialogue
Yeah.
it. She or he will appreciate it.
Yeah. And just, be in your heart space.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. She says, blessings to you, Laura, on your roller coaster. May you soon feel like you're drifting safely in a warm sea, soaking in joy and peace. Ah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
absolutely.
Feeling it right now. Thank you. Yes, it's getting better and better every day. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, definitely sending you lots of love, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much, everyone, for co-creating this beautiful space today, this powerful space today. Again, like I said, go back and watch or listen again to receive even more and deeper. And I, of course, work with Cathleena in package A or package B. I've worked with Cathleena myself, so I can highly recommend her, the one-on-one for sure. Absolutely. You will be transformed and you will love it. All right, everyone. So thank you, thank you, thank you. This was great, powerful. I'm going to chill for a little while and then I have another something going on, right? So, but I'm going to chill, take time to chill for yourself as well, right? So take time to chill, relax, rest, and continue to absorb the frequencies and the energies from this call. All right. So thank you so much, everybody, for all your questions, comments, feedback, everything. It was wonderful. Thank you again, Cathleena. It's always so wonderful having you here on the show. I so appreciate you.
Yeah, you too as well, Laura. Thank you. Take care.
All right, everyone. Until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye for now.
Bye for now.